I know it's a little tough, but again, we're here to fix that. This is the 4th video in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This one is esteem. It's kind of the culmination of all of this. But this one is an interesting one because you can't really have this. You can't really have any of the other ones without this. And you can't have this without any of the other ones. As opposed to it being a pyramid, it's more like a daisy chain. But self-esteem is a hard one because it's hard to build up and you can't really know when you've built it up enough. To the point that if you keep going, it just turns into ego at that point. But I'm going to give you a few pointers to help you out a bit. The first one, find some value. Find something that you can do well. That's why usually someone who's proud of what they do have high self-esteem. And people with high self-esteem are usually happy with what they're doing. They find passion in it. They enjoy it. And how do you build a skill? Or I guess increase your value? You learn something that people need in society. That's why doctors are so highly valued, because it's a hard skill to learn how to save someone's life in almost any situation. The same thing with businesses in general, or business owners. The way they make money is that they create value. They give society something in exchange for money. Any entertainer, musicians, actors. The only problem is that a lot of times when they put all their value onto what they do, once they stop doing it or once they do something else, they kind of lose their self-worth. That's why so many older musicians and actors and stuff kill themselves, because they're no longer valued by society. Even though they are, but because they're not doing what they were valued for, they no longer feel the same type of love, if that makes sense. There's only one route that you could sink your self-esteem into and never lose it again, and that's in Jesus Christ. He gave you value. He died for you. He showed how much he loved you. Yeah, I don't want to get too religious in this video, but that's the only way to truly find self-esteem. But y'all are here for the quick fix, so you can build a skill. Another thing is you could find the correct people, if that makes any sense. I spoke about this in the last video. If you find your tribe, they give you value, and that in turn gives you self-esteem. It lets you see yourself higher than what you would alone. The main reason it does is because it leads to a positive loop. And once you find your tribe, once you find your people, you kind of notice it, or I noticed it, but I don't know if you guys are as, introspective as I am. But I can almost see myself doing things just because it's doing what I'm supposed to be doing to the best of my ability. Not necessarily because it's my job or what's expected of me, but because I do like to do it, but I kind of have to do it to the best of my ability. I don't like doing anything at half effort. It's useless. It's a waste of time, waste of energy, and nobody gets anything done. But it's important to be in that mindset of, thinking positively about yourself. And that comes a lot easier when there's people telling you what you're good at, if that makes any sense. Not that should be the only thing, but it helps. It definitely helps. A lot of people don't like that, but it does help. And I guess the second tip on how to build self-esteem is to set goals. And visualize yourself completing them and complete those goals. Let me put it this way. Let's say you have an identity you're trying to grow into. Let's say you want to be a musician, for example. You tell yourself, I'm a musician. What do musicians do? They make music. And so to make music, they have to create the music, if that makes any sense. And so you tell yourself you're going to make music. You're just going to create for a certain amount of time or create a certain amount of songs. That's a goal, a concrete thing you can reach. And it is kind of artificial at the beginning, but eventually it'll form into, your identity, who trying to be. Because let's say you're supposed to write 100 songs a month. That's a lot of songs, but 100 songs a month, and you complete those goals. Now, it's funny and it seems a little childish, but you're gonna see yourself as a musician. Like I made 100 songs. They weren't all good songs, but 100 songs made nonetheless. And that slowly begins to build your self-esteem and has you, I guess, begin to grow into your identity. And that's again back to that knowing who you are. It gives you self-confidence, gives you assurance, helps you plant yourself in the right place. And the last one, I would say this is the easiest and kind of the most boring, but don't click off yet. Hold on. It would be to literally just see what you're good at and understand that you're good at that, if that makes any sense. So like a lot of people see somebody doing something they want to do or they want to be good at. They're like, oh, I'm not as good as this person doing this thing. That by default makes you a worse person, and it doesn't work like that. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. It's very cliche, but it's true. You might have, let's say, you're great at typing. You're a good typer, and someone else is a good writer. You want to write because I don't know, maybe you like calligraphy, but you were raised typing. So it's not really fair to you to compare yourself to someone who's, let's say, been writing for their whole life to you who's been typing for their whole life. And so you have to embrace what you do have and understand that you're good at it. For better or for worse, it's a skill you have. It's something you are good at. Even if it's something that might not seem like it's very useful. Let's say you're good at video games. This one's weird, but let's say you are good at video games, specifically something like, a Valorant or a Counter-Strike, something that needs a quick reaction time, and you apply that to something else that's not necessarily video games. That's a skill you have right there. Let's say, for example, you choose to go something that needs a fast reaction time, some sort of sport. It's going to take you a second to adapt that same reaction time to what you're getting into, but you can still, I guess, harness that same reaction time you took from that into the sport. So I do think it's important to embrace what you do have, even if it doesn't seem like it's very good. You were given that gift for a reason, and you should use it to the best of your ability. Now I'm going to get into the religious stuff. God gives you a very specific gift for a very specific reason. Not necessarily that you have to dedicate your life to using that gift, but as a Christian, it's important that you use your gifts to glorify God, all of them, not just one specific one. You use every single one of them to, bring others to Christ, to show the love of Christ to everyone, and demonstrate to the world who Christ really is. That's why, there's a lot of Christians who serve in ministry, or like let's say a music ministry, and they outside in their lives, they don't do anything else that has to do with music. It was just a gift God gave them, and they use it for that sole purpose of worshiping Him and serving their congregation. There are people who use it to make their living, to fully dedicate themselves. You have your professional musicians, your pure flicks, your pure flicks actors and directors. There are people who dedicate their lives to using that gift, but that's not necessarily what you have to do. What you do have to do is use that gift to the extent you're comfortable to give back to God. I just thought you guys should know that. This one was a shorter one than normal, but this is more practical than the other ones. Just to quickly resume or review the practical tips. Actually, never mind. Y'all got it. This is YouTube. Y'all can rewind. It's all good. All right. Just thought you guys should know that. See y'all later. Bye.